the detox community is quite toxic. Let's put it that way. By adding more veggies to your diet, many people go to the extreme, like, I'm just gonna say Chef AJ. It's not my intent to go carnivore, because that's just as restrictive as being vegan for me. I also don't understand it's so many people who go from being vegan to the complete opposite. Why do we have to be black and white? Can we not just be a little bit gray? And I wasn't a better person when I was vegan. Maybe even the other way around, because I really had to humble myself and had to look at the people behind things. Yes, you can always have been vegan at heart, even though you have to decide right now that you cannot be vegan. And it just boggles my mind. It's just, I cannot deal with this, that there are people who are really convinced that going not vegan automatically has to mean that they were never vegan to begin with. It's just, how can you say that? That's exactly how I feel. At one point I had to say, I'm not going to die for the animals. I'm not going to die as an honor towards other beings, because that is just, you're just desperately trying to make yourself believe that this has to work. I was using veganism also in the name of the eating disorder without me realizing it, because the eating disorder is louder when you're in it. The chance that you are well on veganism long term is much higher if you have never even cared about any kind of calories, and if you're not easily influenced by anything anyone says in the nutrition world. In the internet, I think we need discussions like this, because it cannot be that people who change their mind about things because their life suffered from it, yeah, I just say it again, are ripped apart, and everyone thinks they know much more about them than they themselves do. That's just nonsense. No caveman ever knew that there are even calories or macronutrients or whatever. They just lived and ate, and it was the body's task, not their brain's task, to control it. Hey everyone, it's me, Carbundance, and today we're in for me reacting to the comments under the video that was made about me from, like, by Vegan Deterioration. And I've made the reaction video yesterday. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Yeah, I'm just going to react to the comments because I think there's some interesting stuff below it. I was pleased that she also linked the video below her video so people actually watch it, because you can take a lot of things out of context if you only have someone reacting to someone and don't watch the original video. So someone says, she seems like a smart cookie who's been keeping her personal needs on the back burner out of fear for how she'll be judged by militant vegans. I'm pleased she's free and I wish her the best. Thank you for thinking that I'm a smart cookie. And so, I mean, yes, I was just surprised by the positivity, because I thought, well, if an anti-vegan channel is going to make a video about me, then I'm going to be ripped into pieces. But it was not the case. So someone writes, so powerful for this woman to realize you cannot cure an eating disorder with a restrictive diet, especially a nutritionally restrictive diet. Wishing her a speedy recovery from the illness of veganism. Well, yes, so I personally am not on the anti-vegan side, and I'm not, but I had to also stray a bit from it has to be for everyone kind of side. Actually, I have commented and reacted to this in my other video where I react to her video, because I talk a lot about what I mean by I hope I can go vegan again sometime. Because there's a difference between planning to go vegan again and hoping to go vegan again. But watch that video if you're interested in that. But yeah, the first sentence, so powerful for this woman to realize you cannot cure an eating disorder with a restrictive diet. Yes, it was a long way for me to actually accept that for me, in my case, it is a form of restriction. I always had the right motivation behind it, and I always had also the wrong motivation behind it, and that takes a while, or took a while, for me to admit to myself. I I was in it for the animals, but I was also in it for feeling safe around food and for not being able to eat all of the foods that I'm so freaking scared of. And so, yes, thank you for that comment. I will actually leave my likes here as well. I mean, if she needs to tell herself she's vegan in her heart or temporarily not vegan, I support her. At least she's stopping judging people who make dietary choices for their health. This has a lot of likes. Yes, I mean, that is really a positive outcome from all of my process. I really became more compassionate in the process because it humbled myself. I was on that side who once judged people for not going vegan, even though it's 2021, kind of in a place where I couldn't understand why someone would not be vegan, and I was convinced that it is the best for everyone. Like being in denial at that time about my own situation, like the whole situation, the whole truth that I was still in an eating disorder, and I was using veganism also in the name of the eating disorder without me realizing it, because the eating disorder is louder when you're in it. And so it took a lot of mental courage for me to go against that. Yeah, these are my 2 cents about that. Yes, and sure, it does help me to know that in my heart I don't like to do that. It's not because something changed in my heart. I'm not a worse person now. And I wasn't a better person when I was vegan. Maybe even the other way around, because I really had to humble myself and had to look at the people behind things and not, don't have a very restricted perspective on things. Kudos to the woman for being honest about her struggles with veganism. I honestly believe veganism attracts those with eating disorders as well. Honestly, I do think that as well. And it's not the veganism's fault, but it is the nature, I think it's human nature and the nature of the diet that can be a match or a break. The nature of lower calorie density of the diet that can turn on the genes of anorexia or eating disorders as a survival mechanism, and that can be the thing that breaks the straw then for someone, even if they're in it for the animals, even if it's ethical. Like in my case, there can always be the wrong and the right motivation at the same time, and that's also how people justify being vegan and staying vegan, and how I did it for a long time. I think veganism attracts those with eating disorders as well because it feels safe, because also, it is trending, and it's also so ethically pleasing, like you feel like a good person if you're going vegan, and all of these great things. It's not about that for me, but it's that veganism, for those who are afraid of a lot of foods and afraid of calories and afraid of eating not perfectly and kind of have orthorexic tendencies, it's just kind of a logical step for them to, why would I not be perfect if I can be perfect? And so the all or nothing kind of mindset, those people are very much attracted by that. And then because it is an excuse for them to not be able to eat foods in social situations. It's a perfect excuse socially. And it will not be debated by people. No one will argue against that, because if anything, they might even feel bad and think and say things like, oh, I should be vegan too. Oh, I also don't eat as much meat as I used to. Something like that, right? So it's just, yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, someone says her eyes are sunken so much. Poor girl. Are they? I don't know about that. I surely haven't had enough sleep the last days, because I'm still learning with all of the work, and it's a little bit too much because I'm still experimenting with stuff. I know Char is talking a lot about the vegan look and about how unhealthy vegans look. And I agree that there are vegans who don't look very healthy, but at the same time, I'm not sure if is that the case for me, about me? I mean, you can make your opinion Let me know in the comments. I think one should always strive for holistic health. And if anyone is unhealthy at some point or doesn't look their best at some point, then that's just part of the life that will make them learn important things. You know, it's not a bad thing per se. Good for her that she realized that she's depleting her body and prioritized her physical and mental recovery. An energy deficit in itself will deplete the body, no doubt about that. I do know and agree that there are nutrients in animal products that might have helped or might still help in my recovery, because anything will help. The B12 and vitamin D argument, like, it's not in here right now, but so many people say, yes, you're not going to get that, but yes, but it's in the soil and you get it normally from the sun, but I'm not living in the tropics, and these are things that are supplemented. So it's not like, I don't know if I'm magically depleted after being vegan. The blood tests didn't show any depletion. I wish people could stop being vegan without all those qualifiers and disclaimers like, I'm temporarily not plant-based, or I'm still vegan in my heart, or I'm gonna get back to veganism as soon as I get better. Saying anything just not to get targeted, attacked, or harassed by the rest of the vegan community. Yeah, I did feel I'm also talking about that in my video from yesterday, in my reaction video to Char. I do feel the need very much, because I am very much afraid that people are going to misunderstand me. And I mean, everyone has seen ex-vegans being ripped apart because everyone said, well, then you were never vegan. And it's like, I just wanted to make clear with my video that yes, you can always have been vegan at heart, even though you have to decide right now that you cannot be vegan. And it just boggles my mind. It's just, I cannot deal with this, that there are people who are really convinced that going not vegan automatically has to mean that they were never vegan to begin with. It's just, how can you say that? And that takes a lot of compassion for the person behind it also. Health is not only the body, health is also the mental part. So thank you for the comment. Glad for Carbundance. Her body must be completely trashed. People with eating disorders, including orthorexic vegans, are their own worst enemies. That's true. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say about that. Her body must be completely trashed. Energy deficit in any kind of way, no matter what you ate before, will trash your body. I'm not at the end where I'm not the epitome of health now, but I'm also not at the beginning of when I was the worst. So I'm completely in the midst, and over the time, as you will see throughout the years through my videos where I document my journey from the last year, yeah, you're going to see that I'm going to talk a lot about how I felt and how I saw how my system and my body became functioning again. Like the endocrine system, all of that stuff. And there's still some things going. I'll talk about that in other videos. I went vegetarian because of an ED. At the time it seemed an easy way to lose weight. That's what I was talking about. And by following the online vegans, that mentality is only encouraged by some of them. Yeah. Many go vegan because they want to lose weight. And because the energy deficit can turn on an eating disorder, like the genetics for it, for those who have them, that's a slippery slope. It's, even though there was never the intention, it can always start out with a good intention, but it can happen. I'm also translating a book by someone who has written numerous books about it already, but about the migration theory behind anorexia. It's called Rehabilitate, Rewire, no, yeah, doch, German. Rehabilitate, Rewire, Recover by Tabitha Farah, and I'm translating it into German. I recommend it to read it if anyone is interested. Because it goes against the conventional notion that, or the conventional idea and conviction that there has to be something mentally before an eating disorder starts. it's caused by something mental. But for many people, the conventional treatment doesn't work and they are sick for life. And also for me, it didn't help me to recover from the restrictive eating disorder. And so that caused me to be to have that eating disorder for more than half of my life. And so that's why I say that this new approach, the migration theory, is so revolutionary, and it just basically says you have to eat the food and nothing else will. Like, if that doesn't happen, you will not recover. And you can deal with other stuff also, of course, that might have been contributing, but yeah, that's what I mean. Humans are animals. We are mammals. Animals eat animals. Humans eat animals. It's what helps us thrive. We learned how to protect ourselves from predators, to hunting, to raising livestock and farming. Predatory animals are smart and they follow the herds. Lions keep close to the zebras, water buffalo, etc. Organic food is the best. If we made our food supply organic again, that would get rid of a lot of disease. Support your local organic farmers. Yes, organic might be the best, and I was huge on the organic for quite some time, and I still believe it's the best. But the thing is, in a restrictive eating disorder, you also go against perfectionism and orthorexia. I used to be someone who didn't want to eat something if it wasn't organic, and mentally it stressed me out that there could be pesticides on it. And so that's also something that I have to rewire. Do what you can do, but for me right now it's really important to not care about if it's organic or not. What many people don't understand below this video is that I am recovering from a restrictive eating disorder, and it's not my intent to go carnivore, because that's just as restrictive as being vegan for me. Like, I also don't understand it's so many people who go from being vegan to the complete opposite. Why do we have to be black and white? Can we not just be a little bit gray? That's something we should think about. Animals eat animals, humans eat animals. Yes, in nature we always have done that, and that was also a thing for me to realize and to admit to myself that there has never been a population on the whole world and in whole history that was purely, completely vegan. That helped me actually to kind of embrace it and be like gentle with myself about the decision also. I never had a problem with food before going vegan. I ate as much as whatever kind of food I wanted and always stayed thin. Yeah, that's why people many times do it. Then I went vegan as a senior in high school, and slowly, came to hate food. Because veganism is never enough. I was stressed about everything I ate because some people said tomatoes or carrots are bad. Oh gosh. Or the pesticides on the veggies. Yeah, here we go again. Carbs, fats. I felt like no matter what I ate, it was bad for me. By year 5, this was with lots of back and forth, but the last 2 years were completely meat-free. I had developed a fibroadenoma in each breast, the worst period pains I've ever had, and even painful ovulation. It could also be because of an energy deficit. Just saying. Constant struggle with digestion and overall sense of unsafety, tenseness probably from my body constantly releasing cortisol to fuel itself. It's been probably 6 months of eating meat again, and my health has definitely improved. But I still struggle with food because of veganism. It literally gave me disordered eating. Wow, that's bad, I'm sorry. Not where I starve myself or anything, but where I just get annoyed and hopeless around food. Yes, it's the perfectionist mindset. Scared that no food will ever be good or healthy enough. I just learned, it's also the detox community within the vegan community. The detox community is quite toxic, let's put it that way. I just learned to not trust or be excited by food as food became a chore. It was exhausting trying to cook and eat enough. The thing that you have to prepare your food always, it takes a lot of time and a lot of brain capacity. I only realized recently how my psychology around food got so twisted during those years. It takes you out of your body, your primal instinct and connection with your own flesh and blood. Yes, because we do not trust our body anymore. No caveman ever knew that there are even calories or macronutrients or whatever. They just lived and ate, and it was the body's task, not their brain's task, to control it. Mentalizing food, making a hierarchy out of foods, ignoring the body's pull and guidance, and instead letting the thoughts other people put in your head control you. Spot on. This really damaged my relationship with food, despite never having had a problem with food at all. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe due to the reasons that I was talking about before. It's been healing, but I still find myself disconnecting from the food I'm eating. Veganism is so for something to free yourself from the capitalist food system and save the earth and do what's natural, but it often makes people more confused and obsessive with food. I agree, unfortunately, and definitely much less natural in their relationship with food. But then at the same time, the chance that you are well on veganism long term is much higher if you have never even cared about any kind of calories, and if you're not easily influenced by anything anyone says in the nutrition world. And I know these people, and I know them very well, and but a lot of people are very much influenced by society and the media and stuff, and the whole calorie in and calorie out thing, which should be task of our body to do, not of the diet culture. I giggle when people that live off of juice and smoothies talk about how it's the most natural way to eat, despite there being nothing natural about the expensive machines that tear apart plants, lol. Yeah, true. I don't think you need to worry about her going vegan again. I said the same thing when I left veganism. I actually made a video about exactly that also, that you can watch. What I mean by that. I said the same thing when I left veganism. I felt so guilty for eating animals and swore I would return to veganism one day. It just makes your heart feel better, I guess. Well, it's been over a year since then, and now I swear I will never return to veganism. It makes no sense to build yourself back up just to return to veganism and slowly die again. Powerful words, that's all I will say. The replies are, you see that with vegans all the time. They will return to eating animals only until they are healthy again. And then they will return to the vegan diet that made them sick in the first place. That's why I don't plan anything. I will do what has to be done for myself. That's all I will say about this. I feel I was normal before going vegan. I did it because I thought it would help my running performance. I ended up being vegan for 10 years and definitely felt it gave me orthorexia. I think that's the case for many people, or at least for the people who are prone to information and prone to doing it perfectly because of all of the plant-based doctors and everything you can do and hear. I got so worried about gaining weight, was always feeling like I could eat cleaner. Raw vegan seemed appealing, but I was never able to do that. And it has taken almost 2 years to heal and to feel like my relationship with food is finally healthy. Congrats on that. Doctors and nutritionists said add more veggies to your diet. They didn't say starve yourself. Yes, but by adding more veggies to your diet, many people go to the extreme, like, I'm just gonna say Chef AJ. And, then all you eat is vegetables and starch. And there's no way that you can eat a lot of calories or even enough calories for your body. And then you might be hypothyroid. I know she, for example, is hypothyroid, and secondary hypothyroidism can be, if it's secondary, it usually is because of undereating long term. Oh, I know this one, the smiles. She's actually on my channel. I left the comment about veganism giving me orthorexia. It's just crazy to think I had no issues with food, no food sensitivities, intolerance before veganism. It completely trashed my thyroid and gut health. Wow. I went vegan because of Freely and Carbundance influence. Ooh. I'm glad she got out, but now I'm faced with the grueling task of reversing the damage from this deficient diet. Wow, I haven't seen this one before. It really gets to me. I'm really sorry that you feel this way, and while I'm really sorry that I had this influence on you, I have to be compassionate with myself also. We all are humans and we all make mistakes and we all influence others, and then at some point in our life we'll have to make up our minds about it. everyone does their best at the point of their life where they are right now. And yeah, but it really breaks my heart to read that. And I hope that you can maybe learn for yourself from this experience that you are not, in terms of what's important and healthy for you, you are not following anybody. Not even me, not even anyone else, not even, like, you just have to know for yourself what you need to do and what's right for you. So you can never, and I'm not saying you blame me, I'm not saying that, but in general, no one can ever blame anyone else for them to have influenced them, because we always decide if we let ourselves be influenced by others. And I also preach that to myself, because I was also very easily influenced by others. I myself was very much influenced by Freely, and that is why I also, that is how I also influence others then. But yeah, you have to learn from your experience now and make yourself grow a thick skin so you're not as easily influenced anymore. I will give that a like. I forgot it with the others. I will actually do that later. Vegetarian, vegan, raw foodism took me straight into an eating disorder. I was fine around food before vegetarianism. That's when I became orthorexic, except at the same time that word did not exist. Well, crazy. Good on her for taking care of herself. I'm proud of her. Thank you so much. This reminds me of when fairly local vegan lost so much weight that her husband thought she was gonna die, so she finally took medicine with honey in it. Sad that people think they have to be martyrs to live with our fellow animals on this earth. That's exactly how I feel. At one point I had to say, I'm not going to die for the animals. I'm not going to die as an honor towards other beings, because that is just, you're just desperately trying to make yourself believe that this has to work and you're dying for it. And that's just so sad. Someone says she expressed this so well. And Char replies, yes, she did. Thank you so much. Yes, I tried my best. The answer why vegans are evil towards those leaving veganism is simply because they are jealous that their once vegan friends, idols, mentee can now eat meat, cheese, fish, honey, milk, etc. Jealousy kills friendship. I don't know. Maybe they could be jealous if they are restricted. If they feel restrictive, then yes, that could be. Yeah, I've come to realize that if I hadn't been raised by an eating disordered single mother, and if I hadn't had eating disorder tendencies from a young age, I would most likely never have gone vegan. Yeah, maybe. I say it all the time. I was vegan 20 years, I looked good most of it, then it was a fast crash and burn. I tried to talk to vegans about this and they say the same thing I used to. It's a cult. It's all a matter of if someone is willing and able to open their eyes once they are not as well anymore, or if they are insisting of this has to work for me. Yeah. I'm looking at her face and jawline and she has really good bone structure. Okay. In her developing years, she definitely ate a traditional Bavarian diet. What? So I'm a Swabian, like I come from the south of Germany. I think you say Swabian to those people. I don't know, but I find this comment really funny. I'll give it a like. Even in the shade, I still saw her face has that vegan look and she's 31. Glad if she chose to leave veganism and I hope for her speed recovery. The vegan look. I don't know about that, man. But yeah, I know. I mean, I have heard Char talk about it. The sunken eyes and stuff. Keep in mind, I do live in Germany and it's winter and I don't have a tan. Like, that doesn't automatically mean that someone is anemic. But I know what you mean, and I know that anemia is a thing. That can also be because of calorie restriction. It's like, it can be different factors. Someone wrote a poem about it. Vegan phobic. Another vegan journey concludes. As nightfall bestows upon the horizon of the sky and tree branches dance to the hollow whisper of the wind, temperatures recess into the starlit sky while the broken spirit of a vegan regains the life back to her eyes. The end. Okay. Very creative. Another one eats her own words. It's a good thing to admit it though. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. Thank you. There are some meat eating channels that look deteriorated like this. It's more about customized food selection than brand names like vegan, keto, paleo, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. I think it's just as extreme to go carnivore straight away after being vegan. For me, it's important to not have any restriction. Someone says, yeah, that's actually the one that I was going for. She's 31. I thought she was 47, 48. That blew my mind. Do I look like 47, 48? I think that's a little bit exaggerated. Leave your comments down below. What do you think about these things? I think these are all really, really valid debating issues. It's just, it goes to the core of things. And in the internet, I think we need discussions like this, because it cannot be that people who change their mind about things because their life suffered from it, yeah, I just say it again, are ripped apart, and everyone thinks they know much more about them than they themselves do. That's just nonsense. So I hope I've contributed a nice part to this, and I will be glad to see your opinions in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I see you next video. Bye bye.